What's up? It's Elan Jones, and today I want to talk about this viral video of Kevin Samuels. I have a few things to say about the situation in general, but I'm going to start off talking about femcells and how that subculture of women is connected to what we saw in that video. So the woman in that video rated herself at a 5. The internet is rating her below a 5. Most people are rating her below a 5. I don't really think that that's very important here. So I'm not going to focus on that, but it had me thinking about femcells. Femcells are supposedly a 3 and below on the 1 to 10 scale of attractiveness. Started thinking about Black women, Black men, Black relationships, subcultures, the Black community, and where femcelldom fits in. And this video inspired me to talk about it. So first of all, I understand that this is a very sensitive topic, even though I'm not going to coddle the internet. I understand that a lot of people are very sensitive about looks, especially women, especially Black people, especially Black women, especially the internet. The internet is fixated on looks and superficiality, and in the internet world, no one's allowed to be unattractive, and everyone's a winner and everyone is a 10. But I feel like we are approaching 2021. We're in fact approaching 2021. And I feel like in 2021, people are going to be way looser at the tongue, and they're not going to care about censorship. They're not going to care about consequences even for speaking the truth, because we're tired of living in this fairy tale land where everybody's perfect and nobody has flaws, But anyway, Black women tend to put an abnormal amount of importance onto looks. This has been brought up before, and it's something that's kind of painful to acknowledge and say out loud because of how destructive it is. And speaking in third person plural when I talk about Black women, and just saying Black women, generalizing in that way, I have to do these things because Black women who aren't a part of the majority are pretty much invisible. They're a part of a silent, very small minority group. And I don't want this to be mistaken for this thing that certain women do where they say, I'm not like other girls or other women, I'm different, or what people would call a pick-me. Anyway, all of these characteristics of Black women in regards to looks in a nutshell is because of narcissism. And out of this narcissism comes the most demonic type or form of envy. Now enter the femcell. A femcell is a female incel, and an incel stands for involuntary celibacy. The distinction between incels and femcells is that incels feel like they can't get anyone to be involved with them romantically, whereas femcells feel like they can likely get sex if they want it, but not fulfilling relationships. And this is also why incels don't like femcells, because they feel like they're not truly involuntarily celibate. They just have standards that are too high, and they don't truly share the same struggle. So I'm going to read from a piece from an article about inceldom to give some insight. It says, incels believe in a concept called involuntary celibacy, or a socially imposed inability to have intimate sexual and romantic relationships with other people. For them, involuntary celibacy happens when a person cannot receive validation, love, or acceptance due to their flaws, perceived or otherwise. This feeds a persecution complex that leaves incels feeling bitter and alienated from women. But involuntary celibacy is a state of mind, not a social reality. As therapist Sam Louie points out for Psychology Today, Plenty of men experience sexual and romantic frustration when it comes to dating women. Instead, Louis encourages men to accept their feelings, come to terms with their romantic and sexual struggles, and recognize their own agency in facing romantic and sexual rejection. Louis wrote for Psychology Today, quote, "Self-hatred not only fuels self-hatred, but in certain profiles can lead to hating others so much that you want to see people hurt and or killed. This is why I believe the incel problem isn't necessarily an external romantic issue as much as a self-image issue. In short, it's not society rejecting incels, but incels rejecting themselves," end quote. Femcel and inceldom exists as a result of how these types, so these personality types, this is why I break people down in terms of personality, not skin color, not race, or anything else. Personality. Because certain personality types tend to be drawn to each other and then they form groups. And these groups of people do things. So femcel and inceldom exists as a result of how these types of people process narcissistic injury. These personality types are narcissistic in nature, and what they perceive to be failing in dating cause them narcissistic injury. And narcissistic injury causes a narcissist to retaliate against a target. In this case, who is the target? Chad and Stacy. So now I'm going to go into the terminology so we get a better understanding of the world of inceldom. First, here's the attractiveness rating system that they go by, the 1 to 10 scale. Chad is a 10 out of 10, impeccably good looking. Stacy is a 10 out of 10. Becky is either average or slightly below average, but with makeup, she's still in the game. A femcel is generally a 3 or below. According to a Redditor, this is where all of these people rank. In Black America, the terms mean different things. For one, Chad is more than just an attractive man. It's any Black man, because Black men are the ones who cause narcissistic injury to Black women, because most Black women feel that they can't get a serious relationship out of the ones that they want. Stacy is still a very good-looking woman, but I want to note the characteristics. So first, all Stacys have natural, thick, long, healthy-looking hair. So a Black Stacy would also have this. Think about how rare that is. That disqualifies a lot of women from being Stacys right off the bat. So that would make her an anomaly, aside from good looks, and a target, wouldn't it? This is coupled with a symmetrical face, etc. I'm actually going to briefly go through globally attractive physical characteristics. And this is backed by science. So full lips, high cheekbones, almond eyes, eyes a perfect distance apart, not too far apart, not too close together, a chiseled or prominent jawline, this is for men, a heart-shaped face in women, smooth and clear skin, neoteny, which is retaining baby features throughout maturation. So, for example, having rounded, plump lips, not just large lips, but rounded, plump lips like children or like babies have. Very smooth lips. Having plumpness in your face like a younger person would have. And overall, just having the clear skin and just having things that younger people have without being creepy. Not in a creepy way, but in a youthful, attractive way. Prominent dimples sometimes, beauty spots or moles sometimes. Not too big or too small of any feature, so lips, eyes, nose, forehead, etc. Long, full lashes in women. Full hair for both, long hair for women, and facial symmetry. Asymmetry increases with inbreeding, premature birth, psychosis, and mental retardation. This is why the scale, the 1 to 10 scale, starts with deformity. And people are typically attracted to health. This is about health and natural selection and people wanting the best for their progeny. This is not about you're superficial because you chose the pretty person. You're shallow because you only choose the pretty people. The pretty, vacuous, insecure, stupid, etc. people. Because these people never stand up for themselves, do they? Right? They just let society dictate what they are. And now this is a permanent societal opinion about good-looking people because no one's ever challenged it. But moving on, outside of these features, can people be attractive? Of course, highly attractive. But narcissistic personalities can't accept that they're not the best at everything and can't have the best, and they can't accept where they truly rank. Narcissistic personalities want what they want, when and how they want it. So the answer for these types is to retaliate against these people and try to eliminate them from the game. Also, I want to note that light-skinned people fall into the Chad and Stacey categories by default because the Black community penalized them to be in those positions. The presence of those people in the community causes narcissistic injury, and those people will be treated accordingly. So, femcells usually only target Stacey, but Black femcells target Stacey and Chad. Incels usually only target Stacey. Black incels target Stacey more than Chad, I'd say. So Stacey is unfortunately getting it from both ends. We know this, we see this. There's no concern or empathy or sympathy for Stacey, Black or otherwise, but especially if you're Black. If anyone doesn't agree with this, you're gonna have to get Stacey's to say their piece because it's always non-Stacey's, non-Chad's speaking for them, or it's just a one-sided conversation, dominating the conversation. So moving on, that's what's out there. Why does this matter? This is important because these people are dangerous and destructive, both the men and the women, except the women's crimes aren't linked to femceldom. We won't have evidence of what the femcells do to their targets. We won't have much of it because, as I've mentioned in past videos, the behavior and crimes of females with sociopathic traits are hidden. These women are more covert, and they also have manipulated society into deifying them, mainly because they're able to give birth. So their wrongdoing is overlooked. Black women, the sisterhood, femceldom, these are buttressed by a movement called feminism, dedicated to socially and economically destroying Stacey's and Chads. And if you're a Black Stacey listening to this right now, I have a message for you. These femcells and feminists are going to try to recruit you through colorism solidarity or strong Black woman empowerment propaganda to be a part of their group. This is so you're out of the game. This is so you have no chance of getting a man that will take care of you and a man that will physically protect you. If a man is taking care of you, that means you don't have to work a conventional job, or it won't be completely necessary for you to work to support yourself. This is not what they want. They can't get to you that way. They would not have access to you if you're not in the workforce with them. All of these women have to work because they don't have the provider male option. They rejected it. A lot of these women have personalities that need supply, and work is where they get it. They have higher testosterone levels, and they like to work just as hard as men. They enjoy the supply that work gives. I don't mean work as in productivity. This is not to say that women who don't want that are lazy. I mean, work is an outlet for them to dominate and for them to get the type of supply that they need to keep them going. Most women don't need that. The workforce is full of these women. This is where and how they're going to hurt you. So they want you to give up your option to not be in their proximity so they can get to you. They slander your name so that your peers can have a poor perception of you and won't come to your defense, so they can easily target you. Solidarity with these women becomes a life of accepting abuse from these narcissistic personalities, and they get comfortable with it. I can't tell you what to do, but if I were you, I wouldn't block the provider male option, because these other women will be waiting for you at work, even outside of work. A man who protects and provides for you can protect you from these women and also the incel men. The hope is that one day, the Stacys of the world will realize that they need each other and the men who love and appreciate them. Keep in mind that most men have an aversion to Stacy, but secure, sane, confident men don't. They're out there. Don't lose hope. I'll catch you in my next video.